Let's get into it. Soul Not For Sale podcast. Coach Colin here. Now, we got Joe Rogan and The Rock, and Joe Rogan is pulling The Rock into deep waters because you cannot be considered to be president unless you talk about the hard-hitting issues. You know, it's nice that you got big muscles, you got a great smile, and that you're in movies all the time and you're friends with Kevin Hart. That's fantastic. You know, pluses, I guess, but what really matters is the hard-hitting issue. So Joe Rogan brings up Israel and Palestine. He starts talking about that conflict. And The Rock, I'm just going to say he can't really hang in this topic because he's not allowed to say exactly what he thinks, because it is one of those topics that's kind of loaded. If you go pro-Palestine, you're anti-Semitic. If you go pro-Israel, you're for open-air prisons. You know? So it's a tough one. He navigates it the best he can. Before I show you that clip, I got to show you something really quick, though. Just this week, polls came out saying that The Rock could be president, that 46% of Americans want him to be president. They would vote for him. And he was blown away. This is surreal. Can't believe that these people approached me, blah, blah, blah. But that's actually not true. This is the second time that this has happened. The first time was actually, let me flip this. The first time was actually in 2017. If you can see right there, the reason I zoomed it in so close, 2017, presidential aspirations. So I'm showing you this article right now because I just want to tell you he was on Jimmy Fallon talking about how there was a poll released and it said that he could beat Donald Trump. So this is like the exact same thing years later. So he's not blown away, and this is not surreal, and this is not something that just happened randomly. This is something that's been being pushed forward to us for a long time, and they've been dipping their foot in to see what the temperature is and then pulling out. And this is another one of those times. I think we're being prepared for something. I have a very quick clip that I'm going to show you of him and Jimmy Fallon talking about this exact thing. Here you go. Let's switch over here real quick, and then I'm going to get to the clip of the Israel-Palestine. Just wanted to show you guys some things. You know how it goes around here. Let me show you this.
People took that story and ran with that story. I mean, it is bigger than any story. It's still running around. And people, why are people making such a connection or such a big deal about this? I mean,
I think, well, this profile came out, and I would be remiss to say that if I didn't mention her name. Katie Weaver is a really brilliant writer, and the story has blown up because it was so wonderfully written, just very, very witty. She was amazing. But in it, as we were talking about, she goes, would you ever consider running for president? And I said, yeah, of course, I would consider it. And how this surge and the groundswell since then has really been amazing. And I got to tell you, and I'll tell you guys too, I'm so incredibly flattered that there's a national poll that just came out this past week, and
by real news channels,
like real news channels, real national poll that brought together Republicans and Democrats and saying that I would beat Donald Trump if we had an election today.
Absolutely.
To become president. And I've really been blown away, right? And it's so flattering. And I think, you asked the question why. I think it's because, a lot of people want to see a different leadership today, I'm sorry, not different, but a better leadership today, right? A better leadership. And I think, more poise, less noise. And I also think that...
I don't want to hear the rest of what he has to say. I just wanted to show you better leadership. I don't know. I'd love to see what he does about foreign policies. I'd love to see what he has to do for America. But I'm just saying, this was 6 years ago where he said this. And now it's 6 years later and he's saying it again. That's all I'm saying. And it's almost another 6 years until 2028. He was saying it's not something he's going to do. Then it was for sure, but it's down the road. I think, again, this is something that's being pushed to us very slowly. They never just thrust things on us all at once. They always just go, here's a little bit. Did you like it? Here's a little bit. Did you like it? Here you go. He's president. Him saying it's all surreal. I don't believe it because he said it was surreal just a week ago. Now he's saying it's surreal and it's 6 years ago. So obviously this is something that's being planned and I don't know why. And I don't know if it's a bad thing or a good thing. I'll be quite honest. But now let's get on to the Israel-Palestine clip. him and Joe Rogan. Let's go.
And
want to raise the profile.
Yep.
So let me ask you this, and this is something you and I were texting about last week, is how can you tell the difference between the bullshit noise and the toxicity that's always out there compared to, that's an opinion that is worthy of my attention.
Mm-hmm.
But I just want to look at and look at this for a second. Like, how do you differentiate the two?
It's difficult, right? You got to try to be objective, and you got to try to be unemotional when you read something that someone's writing. Like, say if someone's like Palestine and Israel is a great example, because the tension is so heightened, and anything you say on one side or the other, people will attack you on.
Sure.
And so this is one that's if you have an opinion, a political opinion, a cultural opinion about the conflict, and you post it, boy, you are opening yourself up to a world of people agreeing and disagreeing and chaos and fighting, and some of those people are going to have points that make sense. Like, say if you are 100% pro-Palestine and you read something about Hamas and you read something, you go, wow, that's fucking terrible. You have to be willing to say, there's both things. There's the fact that they live in what's essentially an open air prison is fucking terrible. Also, the people that are ruling them are terrorists. That's terrible too. Like, you can't ignore any aspect. This is a complicated thing. What some of the Israeli soldiers have done, some evil things to Palestine. There's videos of them shooting people. Also, what Hamas did is fucking insanely evil. Like, what has to be done to fix that? I do not know. But to pretend it's binary and to pretend it's one side good, one side bad, that seems insane.
It's all bad.
It's all bad.
It's all fucking heartbreaking.
Yeah.
It's all devastating. And you're right. And what I've learned, I feel like we've all learned, or trying to learn at least, is because it is so complicated. And that is a part of the world, and historically, thousands of years, that I find complicated, and I try my best to understand. I also try to go at it with an open mind, because it is all fucking crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like there's a real solution either. It's
and
scary.
There's the things that you said. Yes, and I want to get to that in a second, because I was thinking about that today, is everything you said, absolutely. This part of it is devastating. This is devastating. This side. The 240 hostages that still haven't come home yet. But also, where does it go?
Right, where does it go?
Where does it go? That's the thing that I think really grabs my attention, because usually I think I'm not saying a situation like this, but there's a lot of stuff that goes on where you feel like, I think this is the path to finding a resolve, or at least maybe the first steps of resolve. But in this case,
I don't see it.
Brother, I don't know.
No, I don't see it. But speaking to what we were talking about earlier, you can learn from there. That's where separating the noise from the intelligent perspectives. I've read some very intelligent perspectives where people give you a detailed history in the conflict of the region, and you realize, like, this is like incredibly complicated. And to have a binary viewpoint or a very black or white viewpoint is dangerous. It's not. Yes. It's not, and it's so easy for people to do. People love to do that. They love to other people. It's a natural human trait. It's a tribal trait that we have, and that is what led to World War II and the Holocaust. Is that they othered these human beings because these human beings were Jewish. And you're seeing people doing that now with Jewish people, and you're seeing people doing that now with Muslim people. There's people that are angry at all Muslim people because of what Hamas did. All of it's crazy. And what we need to do is realize that othering human beings is insane. And if you could look at Earth from space, this is one of the things that all the astronauts have said, all the people that have gone to the space station. There's a moment where you are up there, when you look down on the Earth and you see this magical thing that's floating in the heavens, and you realize how insane these conflicts we have over territory, of lines in the dirt and fighting over resources, and it's so ridiculous. We are one life form. We are one gigantic superorganism that needs each other. Because, like,
yes,
human beings need each other. We do not survive alone. The worst thing they can do to you in prison is put you in solitary confinement.
Yeah.
We need each other. It's a part of what we are. We're this one gigantic group of beings that are trying to live our lives all together on this fucking magical thing that's floating through space. And we unfortunately come from tribal backgrounds.
Yeah.
All of us. We evolved in these small groups of hunter-gatherers thousands and thousands of years ago, and we carry that DNA still. We carry that fiercely loyal tribal DNA that allows us to look at people that aren't a part of us as something less than us. And we've got to
other them.
Yeah, and what I'm hoping is that as technology allows people to communicate far more freely and to translate languages more freely, and where information is going to get exchanged more freely, and it takes long time for this to happen.
Yeah.
But we'll eventually understand each other to the point where that's way more difficult to happen. Because it's so easy for it to happen if you don't speak their language, you don't follow their religion, they're bad, you're good, and then you're othering people.
That's right.
And we got to stop that. That's a fucking insanely ridiculous thing that's being done by world leaders. They gather people together against other people that you don't even fucking know. You don't even know. It's one thing if you have a conflict with an actual human being that's like doing something to you.
Yeah, right.
But this is like you don't even know these people. And these world leaders have told you that somehow or another these people are bad and you're good and we got to go over there and fuck them up. Like, we're still doing that? Like, that's insane. It's insane that human beings are still doing that. And I'm hoping that as we get to know each other more through technology and through what has become the most connecting innovation, the most connecting technology ever, which is the internet.
Time, yes.
I'm hoping that's going to continue to evolve and connect people further and further. The problem is if it along the way it can get co-opted by governments and it can get controlled and censored, and that's the enemy. That's the enemy of all truth.
That's what we can't have.
We can't have that.
Yes.
We need to fucking ride this out and let this thing write itself out and figure out the right way to live. But it's definitely not through war.
I feel like I agree with you on that. And my hope was, in the spirit and vein of what you were saying, is that riding it out, getting more information, being open to difference of opinion. Here's how I feel. How do you feel? But truly tell me a little bit more, just so I can understand it. But even in that, the spirit of that, I feel like you get so much more out of that and so much benefit. But I feel like you were saying, things got to get recalibrated, man.
Yeah.
And I don't know, especially over there, I don't know what the end game is there. So,
I don't either.
But I agree with you. Yeah.
It's terrifying. It's terrifying because it could lead the whole world into nuclear conflict, and then civilization's over, and then we're back to caveman if we're lucky.
Yeah.
If we're lucky, if there's anybody left. I mean, there's a real possibility we can nuke the whole world, and there's no one left except maybe some people living on an island somewhere that got lucky.
Well, what's crazy is that is a possibility.
Yeah.
And it's
happened before.
Fucking wild.
Well, the thing is, it's happened before with natural disasters. There was this, what was that super volcano? Was it Toba? Was that what it was? Yeah, the Toba super volcano 70,000 years ago that reduced the entire human population to a few thousand people.
Wow.
Yeah, we came that close from a super volcano 70,000 years ago to being down to like very few people. They don't even know how many people it was, but the estimates are a few thousand, I think. Is that what the estimates are? I think that's what they think. But that's great. A few thousand people is nothing. Like, how?
Nothing, man.
That's nothing. That's a concert.
Not at all.
That's like go to a concert, like a theater. Not even a fucking big show.
It's my first wrestling match. Yeah, 2000.
And then imagine that's the whole human race on planet Earth. And then you're dealing with, back then, of course, you're dealing with predators. You're dealing with natural disasters and even normal shit like freezing to death in the winter and starving.
Yeah.
You know? And if you're dealing with a super volcano,
disease,
you also have a nuclear winter. Super volcano coats the earth in ash, and it's one of the things that kills everybody is the temperature drops. No sunlight gets through. Plants don't grow. Everything's fucked. Yeah. And then, you're cannibalizing. There's a lot of that.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, there's a high possibility that our ancestors were cannibals and that the people that had to survive through a lot of these things, they probably ate people.
Did what they had to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, did what they had to do.
Which is fucked.
Yeah. I'd start with my quad.
That's what you need. There's a lot of meat on that thing.
Yours too.
I don't think I'd eat myself. I'd probably jump off a cliff. That's the thing is like, people, it's a scary thing what people resort to. Like the Donner Party, right? When those people got trapped trying to make the way across the mountains. It's terrifying. Yeah. When you're realizing you're starving and people are like trying to draw straws to see who's going to kill who to eat.
Yeah.
Am I the only one? Am I the only one? The Rock didn't say anything, did he? I listened to it again because I run through these clips a little bit. I listened to it. He didn't actually say anything. He said nothing. Joe said what he said, and then he said, "I agree with you." And there's that side, and there's that side, and it's just like, where does it go? And the end game, and try to be open because I want to hear your opinion, and let me know. And maybe I disagree, and let me hear a little bit more of what you have to say. He wasn't saying anything. I didn't catch that the first time. Wow. He didn't say anything. He didn't give his opinion at all. Like not even a little bit of what he thinks. Rogan at least touched on, atrocities on both sides. But The Rock actually didn't say anything. Nothing. And talking about othering people and open air prisons and this and that. Like Rogan touched on some stuff. Obviously, he tried to stay as neutral as possible because he doesn't want to open himself up to all that. But The Rock didn't say anything. I guess he is ready to be a politician. Wow. That was very, very interesting. Didn't say anything. Tried to stay very, very beyond neutral. Beyond neutral. Beyond. Like, he didn't pick a side. He didn't even address either side. It was like, you know, not even in the middle of the conflict. He was like outside of it. You know? Wow. If that isn't a tell that this gentleman is going to be running for president, I don't know what is. He made sure. He's like, until I pick whether I'm going to be a Democrat or Republican, I'm just gonna back up from this one a little bit. Interesting. Joe is right, though. I will say, people have to stop othering other people. It's way too easy. You know, I've seen it on both sides too much, where people really are trying to. I've seen people on the pro-Israel side try to connect every Palestinian to Hamas. From they elected those people, to they all supported it, to I saw people celebrating, and it's like, did you see all of them celebrating? And they'll be like, yes I did. And it's like, no, you didn't. You know you didn't. That's not true. And on the other side, oh, every single Jewish person wants to see all these Palestinians extinguished, and this and that. I know many Jewish people who could care less if every Palestinian was gone. They just want peace. And it's just the law of averages. If there's 2 million, 3 million people, there has to be at least 1 million of them that just want peace. It can't be all of them are like, no, we want death. Like, it's crazy. And the fact that the media is stoking the flames in America and Canada, in North America, they're riling people up here. It makes no sense. And it's such a disservice, especially towards what the press is supposed to be. The press is supposed to be these people who show you the truth, who hear what you have to say. They take all of that, they formulate questions based on what it is you're trying to find out, and they ask the people in power about that. Or they go to Gaza, they go to Israel, and they come back with the information. And that's it. But instead, they are trying to make you upset. They're trying to make you mad. Ugh. It really makes you wonder. Like, I get it. Lindsey Graham, you know, Nikki Haley. I haven't seen her donations, who she gets her contributing her donations from, but I know Lindsey Graham, he has a bunch of defense people in his, like $100 million worth of just donations from Jewish organizations, donations from defense contracts, defense companies. So I've seen where he gets his money. Nikki Haley seems like she has the same type of thing going. And then when you look at the Democrats who are trying to defend what's happening with Hamas and defend all of that and try to call for a ceasefire, which is good in nature. It's very good to have a ceasefire because that's peace. That's peace temporarily, right? So that's a good thing. But those Democrats that are calling for that, like AOC and various others, they're doing that for their own pocketbooks as well. And that's where it's like, it's interesting. And I should say allegedly, because I haven't seen her contributions either. I've seen Lindsey Graham's, though. I see where he's getting his money from. So it's very interesting, man. You would think that we would have learned from this already. You know, I have to go back what Vivek said. Vivek said the best thing, that America should be supporting Israel morally and diplomatically. That is what they should be doing. Morally and diplomatically supporting. Not doing what Lindsey Graham has suggested and just straight up attacking Iran, like actually dropping bombs on Iranian soil. That's not the thing that should be happening. All it should be is, you have a right to defend yourself, get your boots on the ground, go into Gaza and find Hamas. And that's it. Hey, we did the same thing when it came to the Taliban in Afghanistan. We suggest you do the exact same thing. Try and find some collaborators on the ground, and good luck to you. You have our full support in what you're doing. That's what it should be. But instead, for some reason, it's this huge riling of the American public. And I know why. It's so when they send $100 billion, $200 billion, $300 billion, no one gets angry. That's what it's really about. There is no politicians that care about Jewish people's feelings. There's no politicians that care about Palestinian feelings. Jewish lives for that matter either. Palestinian lives for that matter either. They don't care. They don't care because it's over there. If it was in North America, from Alaska all the way to Texas, if that was the land that was under threat, oh, none of this would be happening. There'd be no riling up. None of that. Are you kidding me? None of that. If that was even a possibility, there'd be none of that talk. But again, it's that desensitization that happens. As long as it's over there and we don't actually have to see it and we can just say do it and someone does it, you know, all the power to them. It's silly. But interesting. The Rock didn't say a word. Isn't that funny? Very expected. I think this guy's running for president. I think, and people think he doesn't have enough time. I think he does. I think in the next month, we're going to hear him announce that he's running for president. That's what I'm saying. What is it? The 15th? By December 15th, before Christmas, we get an announcement from this guy. This guy right here. That's it. Your new president, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. He's not even going to be the second black president like Obama was. Nope. He's just like neutral. Doesn't embrace his black heritage. Doesn't embrace any heritage. He's white. He's Italian. He's this. He's that. He's everything. He's just everything mixed up. He's just American. That's what it's going to be. That's how he's going to run. Watch. Anyways, guys, like the episode if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't already. And other than that, I am out.